2.5 years ago, I had a dream about craft coming down and taking people. I was in a mall, and I was with 3 friends, and I was walking through the food court. We were getting ready to leave, and my friend stopped to talk to somebody, and I was just standing there kind of looking around. I was kind of having this feeling of deja vu, actually. In the dream, I was like, I feel like I've been here before. And this kid sitting on a bench by the door to the exit to leave the mall. And all of a sudden, he just looks up, opens his mouth, and starts making this like dial-up router sound. Is all I could describe it as. Just like this electronic tone. It sounded like an old dial-up router. That's the only way I can describe it. If you don't know what that sounds like, go look it up. And then imagine somebody making that out their mouth. Freaked me out. And I was like, how's that even possible? How could a person even make that noise? I was looking around at the people around me like, do you guys not notice? Like, this is kind of weird. And as I'm looking around, all of a sudden, like, all these people sitting at tables, walking around. Like, this lady dropped her bags. She started looking up and doing it. All these people in the mall start looking up and just making this electronic sound. They just open their mouth, and this continuous tone is coming out of them. It sounds like inorganic. And I was like, this is really weird, guys. We need to leave. We need to go. So I get my friends out to the car, and as they're walking through the parking lot, there's people just like wherever they were standing when it started, whatever this is, whenever the signal came. It's just where they were. Everyone was just standing around, like random people, like making this noise. And some people weren't doing it, but it was like they didn't even notice what was going on. But my friends noticed when I pointed it out. I was like, hey, do you see that? Is that normal? Is that weird? They're like, yeah, it's kind of weird. So we get in the car and we're going to leave. And by this point, I'm like, I'm kind of freaked out. And we get on the highway, and all of a sudden, I'm in the back seat. The friend that's in the back seat with me, they look up, and they start making that sound. And so I'm like, I get this feeling like, hey, this is really bad. Like I just had like this intuitive knowing that like this was calling something to them. It was pulling something to them. And I'm like, you need to pull the car over. I need to get them out of the car right now, right? And this dream's already really vivid. I should have pointed that out. This dream was really vivid, like almost more vivid than waking life. And I've had a few dreams like that. And so anyway, we pull over on the highway, and I'm like, I know this is messed up, but like, we got to get away from them. Like, I don't know what's going on. We got to get away from them. And I'm like, I'm trying to talk to him. Like, hey, if you don't stop, like, I'm gonna have to just put you out of the car. So they don't stop. There's like nothing in them. Like whatever made them was gone. Like they were just a shell transmitting a signal. Is the sense that I got. And so I get out of the car. I go around. I like pull them out, and it like they still had motor function. Like I pulled them out, and they could still stand and like walk and stuff when guided and moved and directed. So I just walk them over to the side of the road. And by this point, I'm freaking out. Like I'm feeling like, hey, something's really wrong. Like we gotta go. So I get back in the car, and I'm like, drive. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, you gotta just trust me. Go. They go, and right here at this point, like I am, like in the dream, my hair is like standing up on my arms. I'm freaked out. And all of a sudden, it was like instant clarity. Like, all of a sudden, the dream, it just became so vivid that it was more real than here. Like, more clarity, more definition, more, like, I just had more awareness and consciousness. I could feel the presence of something. I look in the rearview mirror, and I see my friend who I just got out of the car walking out into the middle of the highway, and I'm like, oh no. And I turn around and I'm looking out the back window, and all of a sudden they stop in the middle of the highway, and then they look up again, and this is the part where it got so real that nothing's ever been this real to me that I can remember. This almost teardrop shaped, like the front of it would be the point of the teardrop shaped silver craft, like decloaks. And when I say it decloaks, I mean like it was invisible and it becomes visible. I wish I could describe it. It's kind of like in the movies, but it was so much more real than anything I've ever seen in terms of like sci-fi, invisible to visible. Like, nothing in any movies ever looked more real than what I saw in this dream. And as soon as it decloaked, it put a ramp down. And that's one thing I find really interesting. It didn't teleport them. It didn't beam them up with a tractor beam. It put a physical ramp down, and then this person automatically gets on it, and then the ramp closes into the ship. The ship is like going this way with the road, and then as soon as it closes, it turns to point facing us. And at that point, my heart is pounding. I'm freaking out. And then it takes off towards us. And as it's getting closer and closer to us, I can like feel it. I don't know how to describe it. It was like an electromagnetic energy, and I could feel it. And as it gets closer and closer, I'm feeling it more and more intensely, but I'm losing more and more consciousness. Like, I can't sustain my focus, my being awake, but everything's becoming more and more clear at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. It would be like being super aware during sleep paralysis, kind of. And so it gets closer and closer and closer, and I'm losing more and more consciousness. And just as it gets to be right above the vehicle, I lose full consciousness in the dream, but I wake up. I wake up in the back of the car that I'm sleeping in. It was like an SUV. I wake up screaming. I've had night terrors when I was younger, and I still can't remember any of them. I don't remember what any of them were, but I used to wake up screaming all the time when I was a kid. I don't remember any of it, and I'm wondering if this has anything to do with it, this dream I had 2.5 years ago. But I thought it would be interesting to tell that story, considering everything that's going on. And, yeah, if something like that were to happen, I don't plan on consenting or going willingly. Well, this is a really open and candid conversation, because it didn't seem like any of the people that got on had control. But at the same time, looking back, I question, were they just puppets? Were they just remote controlled avatars for whatever purpose? I don't know. Or was it someone that got controlled because of something they put in their body? Was it, I don't know. Was it just a dream? I don't know. This is obviously for entertainment purposes only, but it was more real than anything I experienced in day-to-day life. It's the way it felt. And, yeah, just thought I might share that. Have a good day.